Hey guys, welcome to linguamarina. Today's story time. I'm going to tell you how I went from being a complete beginner in English to being advanced right now and still improving my English every single day. I was born and raised in a country where English is not really widely used. I was born and raised in Russia, and yes, people learn English there, but it's not like you would go outside and use it all the time. It is not something that happened to me. I started using English regularly only when I moved to the US in 2015. And I think the best thing that I did back home is learn English to a level where I could pitch a company to investors, where I could apply for a visa and do all the documents myself, where I could interact with lawyers and bankers. This is the best investment I've made. And if you would ask me, Marina, what is one thing that you would tell every single language learner? Here it is. Figure out how exactly English is going to improve your life. It is your instrument. Imagine those thumbnails of photos you see on Instagram, before and after. So before English. What was Marina before English? Lived in Russia, dreamed of doing something internationally, being in the US. Marina after she learned English, basically doing whatever she was dreaming of as a kid. And this is the most exciting feeling in the world. When you understand that, I'm a photographer, but I want to work with international clients. Or I am a blogger, but I want to blog in English so that my audience is bigger. Or I'm a computer software engineer and I want to work for an international company. I want to work somewhere and send money back to my family so they could have more opportunity in this life. Once you figure out what's the end goal with English, then everything is going to be so much easier, because the biggest mistake is just learning for the sake of learning. When you understand where you're going, first of all, it's psychologically easy. I'm learning this to this and that. But also when you understand the end goal, your studying process is attached to that goal. So, for example, in the past few years, I was trying to get rid of my accent. It's not like trying to get rid of accent. I tried to sound more American. And you can speak with any accent, but I was a bit, confused, or I didn't like the feeling when I started speaking English and people would be asking me, what did you just say? Just because I spoke with an accent, and they were like, I didn't really get it right away. Of course, people are used to accents, people are used to different cultures, but I just wanted the smooth experience, and it's okay to want it. So I did that. And when I knew the end goal, when I saw the first results, talking to people and seeing that they were not confused about my accent, that was so rewarding. So on your journey of learning English, create those small steps where you can reward yourself for studying. Examples. If you're willing to study in the US and your end goal is to get a master's or bachelor's in the United States, then your first goal would be to reach out to a university. Attend their live seminar. Talk to someone who's from that university using your English. Because when you're doing something that you're super passionate about, because when you know where everything is leading, you don't need any additional help from me. You don't need any additional motivation because you're just going there. So figuring this out was number one step for me, and being as specific as possible. Another thing, yes, you're specific about where you're going with your English, but things can change along the way. Like my goal has always been to live in Great Britain, in the UK. And if you ask me, do you want to live there now? I would say no, because California is so much more exciting, and I'm glad my dream didn't come true, but I pivoted. At some stage, I was like, okay, I want to study in Great Britain. I was researching all the universities. I realized how expensive it is, and the only chance of getting a full ride scholarship was applying for this cheapening scholarship, and the chances were slim. So I started researching other countries, and this is how I found out about Canada. This is how I found out about opportunities in the US and full ride scholarships in the US. It's okay to change your goals along the way. It's just very important that you have one in your mind when you're learning English. Another obstacle on my way has always been dealing with fear. What if people think I'm making mistakes? What if they think that my English is not good enough? The thing is, what I found out also being a blogger and talking to thousands of people in English, which is not my native language, and talking to people who have the strongest accents. The thing is, you don't care about people's accent when they speak about things they're passionate about. Let me give you an example. One of the examples was Sriram Krishnan. He's from India originally. He's now a partner at A16Z, and he became a good friend. The thing is, he has an accent. And when I asked him, like, do you ever think about it? He was like, yes, it was my fear. And the only way for me to overcome this fear was starting to speak to big audiences. And I asked within, he was working at Microsoft, he asked for these opportunities within the company to overcome the fear. And when you do this, when you push yourself, you start talking to people, you realize they don't care about your accent if you're talking about interesting things. And this is what I tell my husband, who wants to blog and he's passionate about cars. I tell him, like, it doesn't matter how many mistakes you make in a sentence. If you're talking about a topic where you're an expert, and he loves racing, he's a Formula 4 race driver, I just tell him, like, go ahead and talk about it, because people will not care about your accent if they found the information valuable. So always think about that. Now I'm gonna give some specific tips. So first of all, if you're asking me for a specific book that helped me, at school we used Opportunities textbooks. There are a couple more that I wanted to recommend. English Grammar in Use by Raymond Murphy, and English Collocations in Use and English Phrasal Verbs in Use. But when I learned English, guys, there was no YouTube. Well, there was internet, but it was like this. Who remembers the sound, like when you had to use your landline to go online? So I didn't really use internet for English. I used internet back then to download songs, and it would take a couple of hours per song. So it wasn't really educational. Now you have all the resources. You have my videos, you have free apps. So I don't think a book will be a good solution. I'm always for taking different courses. I have some courses, and I will leave the links below to all of the courses that I have, so you can select which ones work best for you. My best sellers would be from elementary to intermediate, and then from intermediate to advanced. They just cover all the necessary topics. And it is very important who you listen to when you learn English, right? It is really important that you have the same goals as that person, that you like the person in general. I think it's super important. So just selecting the right course would be a great step. But also in terms of books, just go out there to a store and research whatever you like most. When I learned English, I used to read a lot of books in English. I used to go to a store in St. Petersburg, and I went there really often, and they had my favorite writer, Jacqueline Wilson, and I read all of her books. It's just British author. And later on, when Audible came along and Kindle, I started reading books in digital versions. But again, read books that inspire you. The book that inspired me the most in the past couple of months was Mind Power, and also I read a book about history of Instagram. Again, it has to be something that you're truly excited about. And if you're younger, if you're not interested in psychology or business books that I'm interested in, then again, look at Jacqueline Wilson. She's a kid/teenage writer. Ask people on different apps or research what teenagers are reading and watching now. A lot of teenagers will be watching Netflix, HBO. I know Coco Melon is something that my kids would watch. They're really small, really young, but they have great songs. That, again, something I realized during my journey is that when you learn English, you also have to learn culture, because you have to know, you don't have to, but it makes things easier if you understand what people are talking about when they're referring to some movies or when they're referring to some songs because they used to sing them as kids. This is what I realized was missing when I first started traveling abroad and speaking to native speakers. I realized that, hey, I might know grammar, I might know all the phrases, but then they're talking about things I don't understand, like they're talking about this movie that I haven't seen, or they're talking about a holiday I have never heard of. So getting acquainted with culture beforehand, and through watching movies, through being curious, like if they mention something in a movie, you'd be like, I didn't get it, what is it? Google it and find out. Also, sticking to one particular accent is great, but I know it's almost impossible these days. I just wanted to give you a couple YouTubers to follow, in case you're wondering who to follow and what to watch and what to read. Ali Abdaal is a great guy with a British accent, talks about productivity. Graham Stephan is a great guy with California accent, born and raised in California, lives in Las Vegas now, but talks about personal finance. Again, one of my favorite bloggers. Emma Chamberlain is also from California. Lifestyle vlogs, doesn't matter if you're 14 or 35 watching this, I think you will find her vlogs really relaxing. Yoga with Adriene is my favorite channel for yoga. And then if you want to watch my lifestyle videos, Silicon Valley Girl is another channel that I have. It's mostly lifestyle/business/finance/ what's going on in my life. And of course, there are a lot of other YouTubers, but these are just I don't know, my mostly watched YouTubers. Oh, and Gary Vaynerchuk. He's originally from Belarus, but he's in New York. He's a New Yorker. I think his accent is mostly New York. He's also a great guy to follow. And also another thing that I wanted to share with you, something I'm doing right now, and it is a great thing to do in general and a great thing to do in English. I am writing down my goals. And the thought process behind this is not like, I want to be this by this age. Just things, when you watch other people, when you watch other bloggers, other creators, you're like, oh, I really want to do this. I want the same experience, like somebody bought a house in the US, for example. You're like, this has to be me. This is me in 5 years. Write this down. What I realized again over the years is that the hardest thing is to actually understand what you want, because it seems to you sometimes that you want all of the things in the world, so you don't have a clear path. But when you start thinking about this, like, do I really want this, or is it just a wish that will go away tomorrow? Identifying your real priorities, real wishes, super important. And journaling, maybe once a week, maybe once a month, or maybe every 2 days, depends on how you want it. But journaling in English will really help you first identify your goals and become honest with your emotions and what you really want. And second, it would help you with your written English, and it will help you start thinking in English. And the last but not the least, if we talk about my whole journey of learning English, it started when I was 4. I dedicated at least 4 to 5 days a week to learning English. It was either taking classes or taking class at school or doing something myself in English. And I think I was advanced by the age of 17. This is when I won some big competitions back in Russia, and this is when I started using English, like really in my daily life. And after that, it was no longer like taking classes, though I took some classes, I took some business English classes, but it was mostly through using English. Just to let you know, the first few years are the hardest, but this video is made in a way that is providing motivation for you, not like actionable advice. Actionable advice is my whole channel with hundreds of free resources for you. But this video, I just wanted to motivate you and show you that the journey is long, but as long as you have a goal, as long as you're honest with yourself about your wishes and where you want to be in 5 years, then it is a lot easier to learn English and do anything if you have that state of mind. Thank you guys so much. I hope it was useful, and I'll see you very soon in my next videos. Bye bye.